The massive alien ship floated in the cold darkness of space. Its black metal hull stretched for miles, covered in strange blue lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. Inside the ship, Admiral Kethvar stood before a large screen showing a small blue planet. His forearms moved quickly across control panels while his large yellow eyes studied the data. "Show me the reports again," he said in his deep voice. The screen changed to show images of Earth's cities, armies, and weapons. Kethvar laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "These humans are even weaker than I thought. Look at them fight each other instead of working together. Their weapons are so old and simple. This will be the easiest conquest in our history." His second-in-command, Commander Veltar, nodded. "Our scouts watched them for 6 months. They counted their missiles, studied their armies, and tested their defenses. The humans have no shields, no energy weapons, and no faster-than-light travel. They are still using chemical rockets and metal bullets." "Perfect," Kethvar said. "The Zephyrian Dominion has conquered 47 worlds. This will be number 48. Have the humans ever faced an enemy from space before? Never, Admiral. They fight only among themselves. Their largest wars involved maybe 100 million soldiers. We have 10 billion troops ready for deployment." Kethvar turned away from the screen. His tall, thin body moved with the grace of a born predator. His species had evolved to be perfect warriors. They were stronger, faster, and smarter than most life forms in the galaxy. Their technology was thousands of years ahead of anything humans had built. "How long did it take to conquer the Altarians?" he asked. 3 days, Admiral. They surrendered when they saw our ships." "And the Kepler colonies?" "1 day. They sent a surrender message before we even fired a shot." Kethvar smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Excellent. Begin moving the fleet into position. I want our ships above every major human city at the same time. When they see our power, they will give up just like all the others." Far away, on a space station orbiting Earth, Captain Jake Morrison was having a very different conversation. He stood in the command center of Guardian's Watch, Earth's primary orbital defense platform. The station was not very big compared to alien ships, but it was the most advanced thing humans had ever built. "Captain, we're getting weird readings from the outer system again," said Lieutenant Amy Sullivan. She was young but very smart, and had the best eyes for spotting trouble in the entire fleet. Jake walked over to her station. "Show me what you found." Amy pointed at her screen. "These objects appeared 3 days ago. They're moving too slowly to be asteroids, but they're not sending any signals. Look at this pattern." Jake studied the data. Something was wrong, but he could not figure out what. "How many objects?" 17 so far. They're spreading out across the system. If I didn't know better, I'd say they were watching us." Sergeant Pete Rodriguez joined them. He was older than both of them, with gray hair and scars from the Mars mining wars. "Captain, my gut says these aren't rocks. In 30 years of fighting, I've learned to trust my gut." Jake made a decision. "Amy, I want continuous scans of those objects. Pete, put the station on yellow alert. Don't announce it, but have all weapons ready." "Yes, sir," they both said. On Earth's surface, Dr. Lisa Carter was working late in her laboratory. She was one of the world's best scientists who studied the possibility of alien life. Her computers were analyzing strange radio signals that deep space monitors had picked up over the past week. The signals were very faint and seemed to come from empty space. But when Lisa ran them through her analysis programs, she found patterns that looked almost like language. The problem was that no human language worked this way. She picked up her phone and called General Frank Harris at the World Defense Council. "General, this is Dr. Carter. I need to speak with you about those signals." "Lisa, it's past midnight. Can't this wait until morning?" "No, sir. I think these signals are not natural. I think someone is watching us." There was silence on the phone for a long moment. "Are you telling me you think aliens are out there?" "Yes, General. And I think they're getting ready to do something. I'll set up a meeting for tomorrow morning. Bring all your data." "General, I don't think we have that much time." Back on the alien command ship, Kethvar was reviewing the final attack plans. His fleet consisted of 300 ships, each one capable of destroying a human city with a single shot. The plan was simple. Appear over every major population center at once, demand surrender, and begin the conquest. "Admiral," Veltar reported, "all ships are in position. We can begin the attack in 6 hours." "Excellent. What resistance do we expect?" "Minimal, sir. Human weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Their fastest ships would take hours to reach orbit. We estimate total victory within 72 hours. Kethvar looked at the image of Earth again. It was a beautiful planet with blue oceans and white clouds. Soon it would belong to the Dominion just like all the others. Have we prepared the surrender message? He asked. Yes, Admiral. We will broadcast it in all human languages simultaneously. When they see our ships, they will understand that resistance is hopeless. Good. These humans will make excellent workers for our mining operations. Their planet has many useful resources. What Admiral Kethvar did not know was that humans were very different from every other species the Dominion had conquered. Other alien races were logical and practical. When they saw superior force, they surrendered to save lives. They valued peace and order above all else. Humans were not logical or practical. They were stubborn, angry, and absolutely refused to give up when threatened. They had spent their entire history fighting against impossible odds and somehow winning. They had survived Ice Age's plagues, wars, and disasters that would have destroyed any reasonable species. The Zephyrians had studied human technology and military strength. But they had not studied human spirit. They had not learned about the humans who held the line at places like Thermopylae, or who refused to surrender at places like Stalingrad. They did not understand that humans became more dangerous when they were afraid, not less. As the alien fleet moved into position around Earth, both sides prepared for what they thought would be a quick and simple battle. Only one side was right about that. The mistake Admiral Kethvar was about to make was the same one that countless human enemies had made throughout history. He assumed that superior technology and numbers would be enough to win. He was about to learn why that assumption had been wrong every single time someone made it against humanity. The stage was set for a battle that would change both species forever. The sky over New York City suddenly went dark. People walking on the streets stopped and looked up. A massive shadow covered the entire city. Above them, floating in the air like a black mountain, was the largest spacecraft anyone had ever imagined. Similar scenes played out across the globe. London, Tokyo, Moscow, and 50 other major cities all found themselves under enormous alien ships. The vessels were so big they blocked out the sun. Their hulls were smooth and dark, covered in lights that pulsed with an otherworldly glow. Then every television, radio, and internet connection on Earth carried the same message at exactly the same time. People of Earth, the voice said in perfect English, then repeated in every human language. I am Admiral Kethvar of the Zephyrian Dominion. Your planet is now under our control. You have 24 hours to surrender completely. Lay down all weapons. Gather in designated areas. Submit to our authority. The voice paused, then continued with cold certainty. If you resist, we will destroy your cities one by one. You have seen our ships. You know you cannot fight us. Choose wisely. In the command center at NORAD, deep inside a mountain in Colorado, Commander Ryan Bell stared at screens showing alien ships around the world. Officers and technicians worked frantically at their stations. Red warning lights flashed everywhere. Sir, we're getting reports from every major city, an officer called out. The ships are just sitting there. No attack yet. Good, Ryan said. That gives us time. Patch me through to all military commanders worldwide. Now. Within minutes, Ryan was speaking to generals, admirals, and defense ministers from every nation on Earth. The conversation was quick and direct. Gentlemen, ladies, we have one day to prepare. I know our countries have had differences, but those differences don't matter anymore. We're all humans and we're all in this together. The response surprised even Ryan. Usually getting all these military leaders to agree on anything took weeks of meetings. Now with alien ships overhead, the decision was instant and unanimous. United. States forces are ready to coordinate. With anyone who wants to fight, said General Patricia Stone. Russia will share all our defense. Codes with allied forces, added General Nikolai. Volkov, China's entire military, is at your disposal, said General Liu Wei. In space, Captain Jake Morrison watched the alien fleet through Guardian's Watch's sensors. The alien ships were bigger than anything humans had ever built. But Jake had spent his career studying military tactics. He was already forming plans. Amy, I need everything we know about those ships. Weapons, shields, weak points, anything. Lieutenant Amy Sullivan's fingers flew across her controls. Captain, I'm reading massive energy signatures. Their weapons could level a city with one shot. But look at this, she pointed to her screen. Their formation is very tight and organized. They're not expecting any real resistance. And see these energy patterns? I think their shields work on rotating frequencies, meaning what? Meaning if we can time our shots right, we might be able to hit them when their shields are changing frequencies. Sergeant Pete Rodriguez had been listening quietly. "Captain, these aliens think we're going to roll over and give up. That's their first mistake." On Earth's surface, Dr. Lisa Carter was in an emergency meeting with world leaders. The meeting was happening by video link, with presidents and prime ministers from around the globe participating. "Dr. Carter," said the President of the United States, "you're our expert on alien life. What can you tell us about these beings?" Lisa looked at the data she had gathered. "Based on their technology and their message, I believe they've done this before. Many times. They expect us to surrender because every other species they've encountered has surrendered." "Why would other species give up so easily?" asked the Prime Minister of Britain. "Because it's logical," Lisa explained. "If you're faced with superior force, the smart thing to do is surrender to save lives. Most intelligent species are practical and logical. But humans aren't always logical, are we?" said the President of France. Lisa smiled grimly. "No, Mr. President. Humans are probably the most illogical species in the galaxy. We fight when we should run. We keep trying when we should give up. We unite when we should divide. Logic says we should surrender. But humans have never been very good at doing what logic says." In underground bunkers around the world, military leaders were putting together the fastest mobilization in human history. Colonel Kate Williams was coordinating ground forces from a command center beneath the Pentagon. "All units, this is Colonel Williams. We have 18 hours until the alien deadline. I want every soldier, every weapon, and every piece of equipment ready for combat. This is not a drill." Major Tony Clark was with Special Forces units in 12 different countries. "Teams, we're going to show these aliens something they've never seen before. We're going to show them what humans do when someone threatens our home." The aliens had made several critical mistakes in their assessment of humanity. They had studied human technology and found it primitive. They had observed human conflicts and concluded that humans could not work together. They had counted human weapons and decided they were no threat. But they had not studied human history. They did not know about the last stands that became legends. They did not understand that humans fight hardest when victory seems impossible. They did not realize that threatening humanity's children and families would make humans willing to die before surrendering. Most importantly, they did not understand that human technology was not primitive. It was robust. Human equipment was designed to work under the worst possible conditions. Human tactics were developed through thousands of years of warfare against other humans, who were the most dangerous and unpredictable opponents in the galaxy. As the 24-hour deadline approached, Admiral Kethvar expected to receive surrender messages from Earth's governments. Instead, his communications officer reported something else entirely. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the planet." "Excellent. Play their surrender message," but the message was not a surrender. It was a simple statement, broadcast simultaneously by every government on Earth. "To the Zephyrian Dominion, this is Earth. We have received your ultimatum. Our response is as follows. No. If you want our planet, come and take it. But know that every human on Earth will fight you with everything we have. We will not go quietly. We will not submit, and we will show you why attacking Earth was the last mistake you will ever make." Admiral Kethvar stared at the communication in disbelief. In 47 previous conquests, no species had ever responded with defiance. They always begged for mercy or tried to negotiate. "Commander Veltar," he said slowly, "begin the attack. Start with their largest cities. A show of force will make them see reason." But as the first alien weapons began to charge, targeting systems across Earth came online. Hidden missile silos opened. Orbital platforms powered up their weapons. Fighter jets launched from secret bases. The species that had created the word impossible and then spent their entire history proving it wrong was about to teach the galaxy a lesson about what happened when someone threatened humanity's home. The war for Earth was about to begin, and the aliens were about to discover that conquering humanity was going to be very different from conquering anyone else. The first alien weapon fired at exactly midnight. A beam of pure energy lanced down from the ship over Paris, striking what the aliens believed was a critical communication center. The building vanished in a flash of light, leaving only a smoking crater. Admiral Kethvar waited for the panic and surrender messages to begin. Instead, his sensors detected something unexpected. Every human military installation on the planet was powering up weapons and preparing to fight. "Sir," Commander Veltar reported, "the humans are not responding as predicted. Instead of surrendering, they appear to be launching a coordinated counterattack. Impossible, Kethvar said. Show me what they're doing. The main screen displayed tactical information from around Earth. Missiles were launching from hidden silos. Fighter jets were taking off from bases the aliens didn't even know existed. Most surprisingly, orbital platforms that the Zephyrians had, dismissed as primitive communication satellites, were revealing themselves to be armed weapons platforms. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the command center of Guardian's Watch as the station's main guns powered up for the first time in combat. Amy, I need firing solutions on the nearest alien ship. Pete, coordinate with the other orbital platforms. Captain, Amy said. Their shields are definitely cycling on a predictable pattern. If we hit them at exactly the right moment, our weapons might actually penetrate. How sure are you about the timing? About 60%, sir. Pete Rodriguez laughed grimly. 60% is better odds than we had in most fights on Mars. Let's do this. The Guardian's Watch fired its main gun just as Amy predicted the alien shield would cycle. The blast struck the Zephyrian ship's hull directly, causing visible damage. Alarms began sounding on the alien vessel. Impossible, Veltar shouted. Their primitive weapons cannot penetrate our shields. But more human weapons were firing. Missiles launched from Earth were using flight patterns that made no sense to alien computers. Instead of flying in straight lines, they twisted and turned unpredictably. The alien defense systems, designed to stop logical attacks, struggled to target the chaotic human missiles. On Earth's surface, Colonel Kate Williams was coordinating a defense that confused the aliens completely. Instead of massing their forces for large battles, human armies scattered into small groups. Instead of protecting their cities, they abandoned them and disappeared into forests, mountains, and underground tunnels. All units, execute Plan Chaos, Kate commanded. Make them think they're fighting ghosts. The Zephyrians had prepared to fight a conventional military. They expected large battles with clear front lines. Instead, human forces seemed to vanish only to reappear and attack when least expected. Major Tony Clark led a special operations team through the sewers beneath London. While the alien ship above tried to locate and destroy human military targets, Tony's team was planting explosives in the city's infrastructure. Remember, Tony told his team, we're not trying to hurt civilians. We're making sure that when the aliens try to use our cities as bases, nothing works properly. Dr. Lisa Carter was working frantically in a mobile laboratory that moved constantly to avoid alien detection. She had managed to analyze debris from the first alien ship that Jake Morrison had damaged. I found something, she called to Dr. Sam Turner, who was working beside her. Their technology is incredibly advanced, but it's also incredibly complex. Look at this. She showed him microscopic images of alien circuitry. Every system depends on every other system. Their ships are like giant computers where everything is connected. If we could disrupt one key component, the whole system might crash, Sam finished. But how do we get close enough to do that? Their answer came from an unexpected source. Sergeant Pete Rodriguez contacted them from Guardian's Watch. Doc, we managed to capture an intact alien fighter. The pilot didn't survive the crash, but the ship is mostly undamaged. Can you figure out how to fly it? Lisa and Sam looked at each other. We're on our way. The captured alien fighter was unlike anything humans had ever seen. It was sleek and organic looking, as if it had been grown rather than built. But when Lisa and Sam began studying its systems, they made an amazing discovery. Sam, look at this, Lisa said. Their control systems are designed for beings with 4 arms and completely different brains. But the basic principles are actually simpler than I expected. How so? They rely entirely on automation. The pilot just thinks about what they want to do, and the ship's computer figures out how to do it. There's no manual control at all, which means if we can learn to think like their computers expect, we can fly their ships. Meanwhile, the battle in space was intensifying. Captain Morrison had discovered that human tactics were completely alien to the Zephyrians. While alien ships moved in perfect formations and followed predictable patterns, human pilots flew like they were insane. All fighters. This is Morrison. He broadcast to the growing fleet of human ships that had joined the battle. Forget everything you learned in flight school. These aliens expect us to be logical, so let's be crazy instead. Human pilots began flying in ways that made alien targeting computers crash. They used civilian ships loaded with weapons. They hid behind asteroids and attacked from directions that violated basic military doctrine. They rammed alien ships when their weapons ran out. The psychological effect on the Zephyrian crews was devastating. They had been trained to fight logical enemies who followed predictable tactics. Humans seemed to delight in doing exactly the opposite of what made sense. Admiral Kethvar watched his perfect battle plan fall apart.
How are they doing this?
Their weapons are primitive. Their ships are slow. Their tactics are insane. Sir, his tactical officer reported, we've lost 12 ships and the humans are showing no signs of surrendering. If anything, they seem to be getting more aggressive. More aggressive? They should be terrified. But terror was not what humans felt when threatened. They felt anger. And angry humans were the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy. Dr. Carter and Dr. Turner had successfully learned to pilot the captured alien fighter. More importantly, they had figured out how to modify its systems. If we can get close to their command ship, Lisa explained to the assembled human commanders, we can upload a virus into their network. Not a computer virus, a thinking virus. Something that will make their automated systems start thinking like humans instead of like logical aliens. What would that do? Asked Colonel Williams. It would make their ships as unpredictable and chaotic as ours are. Except they don't know how to handle chaos. We do. The plan was desperate and probably suicidal, but humans had made careers out of desperate and suicidal plans that somehow worked. As the battle raged around Earth, the aliens began to realize they had made a terrible mistake. They had attacked a species that grew stronger under pressure. They had threatened a world full of beings who considered impossible odds to be merely another Tuesday. Most importantly, they had given humanity a common enemy. For the first time in human history, every person on Earth was united with a single purpose, to make sure the aliens regretted ever hearing the word human. The Zephyrians had conquered 47 worlds by being superior in every way. But they had never encountered a species that was inferior in every logical measure, yet somehow kept winning anyway. Admiral Kethvar was about to learn why the galaxy's most successful warriors had a saying, never fight someone who has nothing left to lose. Because humanity, faced with extinction, had nothing left to lose and everything to fight for. The tide of battle was turning, and the aliens were beginning to understand that they had not invaded a planet. They had kicked a hornet's nest. 3 days into the battle, the aliens realized they were not winning. What should have been a quick conquest had turned into a nightmare of unpredictable warfare. Human forces seemed to multiply instead of decrease, and their tactics grew more dangerous every hour. Captain Jake Morrison had been promoted to Admiral of the newly formed Earth Defense Fleet. His flagship was a captured alien cruiser that human engineers had modified in ways that made alien observers question their understanding of physics. Admiral, Commander Amy Sullivan reported, the retrofit is complete. We've combined alien power systems with human weapons. The result shouldn't work according to any known laws of science. But does it work? Jake asked. Like nothing we've ever seen before, sir. We've essentially created weapons that are too stupid to know they're impossible. The human modifications to alien technology were causing panic among Zephyrian engineers. Humans took alien equipment and used it in ways it was never designed for. They combined technologies that should have been incompatible. Worst of all, their modifications actually worked better than the original designs. Dr. Sam Turner had become the head of a team that specialized in impossible engineering. We've figured out why our modifications work better than their original technology, he explained to the Defense Council. Their technology is designed by beings who think logically and follow rules. Our technology is designed by beings who think creatively and break rules. When we combine the two, we get systems that are both advanced and unpredictable. Pete Rodriguez was now leading a mixed force of human soldiers and captured alien vehicles. His unit had grown from a single squad to a full army as human forces captured more enemy equipment. Listen up, he told his troops. These alien vehicles are designed to be operated by logical, disciplined soldiers who follow orders perfectly. That's not us. We're going to use these machines in ways their designers never imagined. His forces had become legendary among both humans and aliens. They drove alien tanks backward into battle because the rear armor was thicker. They used alien aircraft as ground vehicles because they were faster than human tanks. They turned alien communication equipment into weapons because the humans discovered that certain frequencies could overload alien neural systems. The psychological warfare was taking a severe toll on the Zephyrian forces. Admiral Kethavar received daily reports of his crews requesting transfers away from Earth. Some soldiers had even refused orders, claiming that fighting humans was a form of torture. Admiral, Commander Veltar reported nervously, "We've lost 38 ships. The humans have lost hundreds of their primitive fighters, but they keep building more. Worse, they're building them using our technology combined with theirs. How is that possible? We destroy their factories every day." "Sir, they don't have factories in the traditional sense. They build things in garages, basements, and caves. Every human settlement seems capable of producing weapons. It's like their entire planet is one giant military base disguised as a civilian world." Colonel Kate Williams had transformed Earth's defense into something the aliens could not understand or counter. Instead of protecting fixed positions, human forces moved constantly. Instead of trying to save their cities, they used the cities as traps. "The beauty of fighting on your home planet," she explained to her officers, "is that we know every street, every building, and every hiding place. The aliens have maps, but we have experience." Her strategy was working perfectly. Alien ground forces found themselves lost in cities that seemed to change layout every day. Humans had modified their own infrastructure to confuse invaders. Streets led to dead ends that hadn't been there the day before. Buildings had hidden passages that connected to underground networks. Major Tony Clark's special operations teams had evolved into something unprecedented. Human-alien hybrid units that used captured alien soldiers who had switched sides. "It turns out," Tony explained, "that not all aliens are happy with the Dominion's conquest policies. Some of them actually prefer our chaotic way of doing things. They say it's more interesting than the rigid discipline of their own military." The defecting aliens provided crucial intelligence about Zephyrian tactics and technology. More importantly, they helped humans understand alien psychology. "The Dominion teaches that there is only one correct way to do anything," explained Zexrel, a former Zephyrian officer who now fought with human forces. "Humans do things many different ways all at the same time. This is why you are winning. Our computers cannot predict what you will do because you yourselves do not know what you will do." Dr. Lisa Carter had completed her ultimate weapon, a virus that attacked alien logic systems. "It's not really a virus," she explained. "It's more like a philosophy. We're teaching their computers to think like humans." "What does that mean exactly?" asked Admiral Morrison. "Their systems are designed to find the most logical solution to any problem. Our virus makes them consider illogical solutions too. The result is that their computers start making human-style decisions, which are unpredictable, creative, and often completely insane. But they work. The virus was deployed through the captured alien fighter that Dr. Carter and Dr. Turner had learned to pilot. They flew it directly into the alien command ship's docking bay, pretending to be a returning patrol. Once inside, they uploaded the virus directly into the ship's central computer. The effect was immediate and devastating. The alien command ship systems began behaving erratically. Weapons fired randomly. Navigation systems plotted courses to non-existent destinations. Life support systems started playing human music instead of maintaining atmospheric conditions. Admiral Kethavar watched in horror as his flagship became unreliable. "What is happening to my ship?" His chief engineer was equally confused. "Sir, all our systems are functioning perfectly, but they're doing the wrong things. It's as if the ship's computer has gone insane. Can you fix it?" "We're trying, Admiral, but every time we correct one problem, 3 more appear." "The computer seems to be making decisions based on humor, sir." "Humor?" "Yes, sir. The ship's AI just activated the entertainment systems and is broadcasting human comedy shows to the entire fleet. And, sir, some of our crew are laughing." The virus spread through the alien fleet like wildfire. Ships began turning in circles. Weapon systems started targeting empty space. Communication arrays broadcast random human thoughts and emotions instead of military orders. But the most dangerous effect was on the alien crews themselves. Exposed to human-style thinking, many Zephyrians began to question their rigid military doctrine. They started asking why they were conquering other worlds. They wondered if there might be better ways to live than constant expansion and warfare. As the alien fleet's cohesion collapsed, human forces pressed their advantage. Admiral Morrison led a coordinated assault using captured alien ships piloted by humans, who had learned to fly them through pure stubbornness and refusal to accept that anything was impossible. "All ships," "This is Morrison," he broadcast. Remember, we're not trying to fight fair. We're trying to win. Use every dirty trick, every impossible maneuver, and every crazy idea you can think of. The human fleet attacked from all directions simultaneously. They used tactics that violated basic military principles but worked because the aliens could no longer predict or counter them. Human pilots flew in formations that should have resulted in collisions, but somehow didn't. They attacked targets that logic said were unimportant but turned out to be critical. Admiral Kethvar watched his perfect military machine fall apart. He finally understood what his forces were fighting. They were not facing another logical, disciplined species. They were fighting beings who treated the impossible as merely another challenge to overcome. The Zephyrians had brought superior technology, overwhelming numbers, and flawless military doctrine to their conquest of Earth. The humans had brought creativity, stubbornness, and an absolute refusal to follow any rules, including the laws of physics when they got in the way. The battle for Earth was reaching its climax, and the aliens were learning that sometimes the primitive species wins not despite their limitations, but because of them. 1 week after the invasion began, Admiral Kethvar realized that his perfect conquest had become an impossible disaster. Half his fleet was destroyed, captured, or infected with the human virus that made alien technology behave unpredictably. Worse, many of his own crew members were refusing orders and asking questions about the righteousness of their mission. The final battle began when Admiral Jake Morrison led the human fleet in a coordinated assault on the alien command ship. His forces included captured Zephyrian vessels piloted by humans, modified human ships powered by alien technology, and most surprisingly, several alien ships whose crews had switched sides. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison, he broadcast to the mixed fleet of human and alien vessels. Today we end this invasion. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting to show the galaxy that freedom is stronger than conquest. Commander Amy Sullivan was coordinating the attack from the bridge of a captured alien dreadnought. The ship's systems had been infected with Dr. Carter's virus, which meant that the vessel now operated on human logic instead of alien efficiency. Admiral, the enemy formation is breaking up, Amy reported. Their ships are no longer working together. Some are fleeing, others are fighting each other, and a few are just sitting there playing human music. Pete Rodriguez was leading the boarding assault on the alien flagship. His team included human soldiers, defected alien troops, and several humans who had learned to use alien power armor by ignoring the instruction manuals completely. Listen up, everyone, Pete said as their ships approached the massive enemy vessel. We're going into their home ground. They'll have every advantage except one. They still think logically, and we don't. The boarding battle was unlike anything in military history. Human soldiers fought through corridors designed for beings twice their size, using weapons they barely understood, but had modified to work better than the original designers intended. They moved through the ship in ways that made no tactical sense but somehow worked perfectly. The alien defenders found themselves fighting an enemy that refused to follow basic military principles. Humans attacked from directions that should have been impossible to reach. They used alien defensive systems against the aliens themselves. Most confusing of all, they seemed to enjoy the battle instead of being afraid of it. Dr. Lisa Carter and Dr. Sam Turner were part of the boarding party, racing to reach the ship's central computer core. Their goal was to upload an enhanced version of their virus directly into the alien command network. If we can infect their main database, Lisa explained as they fought through the ship, every Zephyrian ship in the galaxy will start thinking like humans. Their entire military structure will collapse within days. They reached the computer core to find it defended by Admiral Kethvar himself. The alien leader stood over 8 feet tall with 4 powerful arms and a body designed for warfare. His weapons were energy blades that could cut through any known material. So, Kethvar said, the primitive creatures have reached my ship. Impressive. But this is where your rebellion ends. Jake Morrison stepped forward to face the alien admiral. Admiral Kethvar, I'm Admiral Morrison of the Earth Defense Fleet. I'm here to accept your surrender. Kethvar laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Surrender? You face a being bred for warfare, enhanced with technology and trained in combat for over a century. What do you have to match that? Jake drew his sidearm, a simple projectile weapon that was primitive compared to alien energy weapons. I have something you don't understand, Admiral. I have experience fighting other humans. The battle between the two admirals was brief but decisive. Kethvar was stronger, faster, and better armed. His energy blades should have ended the fight in seconds. But Jake had spent his career fighting the most unpredictable and dangerous opponents in the galaxy, other human beings. Jake didn't try to match the aliens' strength or speed. Instead, he fought like a human, dirty, creative, and completely unpredictably. He used the alien's size against him, turned the ship's gravity systems into weapons, and employed tactics that violated every rule of honorable combat. When Kethavar's energy blade swept toward Jake's head, the human admiral wasn't there. He had rolled under the alien's legs and fired his primitive projectile weapon at a critical system panel, causing an explosion that knocked the alien commander unconscious. "Dr. Carter, upload the virus," Jake commanded. "Let's finish this." Lisa connected her equipment to the alien computer core and began the upload. Within minutes, the enhanced virus was spreading through every Zephyrian ship in the galaxy. The effect was immediate and catastrophic for the alien military. Across the galaxy, Zephyrian ships began behaving unpredictably. Crews started questioning orders. Military computers began making creative decisions instead of logical ones. The rigid discipline that held the Dominion together began to crumble, as alien minds were exposed to human-style thinking. Admiral Kethavar regained consciousness to find his ship surrendering. Around him, his own crew members were helping human soldiers secure the vessel. Many of the aliens seemed almost relieved that the battle was over. "How?" he asked Jake Morrison. "How did you defeat us?" "We are superior in every measurable way." Jake helped the alien admiral to his feet. "That's exactly why you lost, Admiral. You measured everything except the one thing that matters most." "Which is?" "The refusal to accept defeat. You fought a species that has spent its entire history being told something was impossible, then doing it anyway. You can't measure stubbornness, Admiral. You can't calculate the power of refusing to give up." As news of the human victory spread, the remaining Zephyrian ships began to withdraw from Earth, but many alien soldiers chose to stay, fascinated by human culture and tired of the endless conquests demanded by the Dominion. Colonel Kate Williams found herself in charge of integrating thousands of alien defectors into human society. "It's ironic," she told her staff. "We fought them because they wanted to conquer us. Now they want to join us because they like how we fight." Major Tony Clark was already planning joint human-alien military units. Turns out once you teach aliens to think creatively instead of logically, they make pretty good teammates. Some of them have even developed a sense of humor. Dr. Carter and Dr. Turner were analyzing the long-term effects of their virus on alien technology. "We may have accidentally improved their entire civilization," Sam observed. "Their technology is becoming more adaptable and creative. Their society is becoming more flexible and innovative." 6 months after the invasion, Earth had become the unofficial capital of a new kind of galactic civilization. Species from across the galaxy were sending representatives to learn about human culture, technology, and most importantly, human thinking. The Zephyrian Dominion was in chaos as their rigid military structure collapsed under the influence of human-style creativity. But instead of destruction, the result was liberation. Worlds that had been conquered began asserting their independence. Species that had been suppressed began expressing their own cultures. Admiral Morrison, now promoted to head of Earth's new Galactic Relations Department, received a message from the far side of the galaxy. It was from Admiral Kethvar, who had been stripped of his rank by the collapsing Dominion but had found new purpose. "Admiral Morrison," the message said, "I wanted you to know that your virus has spread to over 300 star systems. The Dominion is falling apart, but something better is taking its place. Worlds are governing themselves. Species are cooperating instead of conquering. It's chaotic and illogical and completely insane. In other words, it's perfectly human." Jake smiled as he read the message. Earth had won more than a war. They had accidentally started a revolution that was spreading across the galaxy. The human ideas of freedom, creativity, and stubborn independence were proving to be more contagious than any weapon. As Jake looked out at the stars, he saw alien ships arriving daily at Earth. They came not as conquerors, but as students wanting to learn the secret of human success. The secret, Jake knew, was simple. Humans had never learned to give up. The galaxy had asked the wrong question when the Zephyrians attacked Earth. The question wasn't who would attack Earth and believe they could survive. The real question was whether the galaxy was ready for what humanity would become once they reached the stars. The answer, as the growing alliance of free worlds could attest, was that the galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place, because humanity was coming and they were bringing their chaos, creativity, and complete refusal to accept the impossible with them. The universe would never be the same, and that, everyone was beginning to realize, was probably a very good thing.